most of us, if not all of us, are acutely aware of the mistakes that we've made in our life. I mean, we don't have to think real hard to go, okay, I've done this that I shouldn't have done, or I've done that I shouldn't have done. But God's response to that has always been forgiveness. You know, so many of us, we've been forgiven from all sorts of things. We've been forgiven from anger, or maybe it was lust, or maybe it was some sort of addiction. God's forgiven us and delivered us from that, or maybe it's some sort of manipulation, right? I mean, if you really stop to think about all that God has forgiven you from, it'll just kind of blow your mind. Because think about how it plays out. Maybe you've done something that you wish you hadn't done, or you've wronged somebody and you feel bad about that. And so you call out to God and you're like, God, please forgive me. Please, I'm so sorry that I've done this. And what is God's response? That first time is immediately, right then and right there, he says, sure, you're forgiven. It's forgotten, the Bible says. It's erased. It's thrown into the sea of forgetfulness. He forgives us right then and right there. But if you're like most people, the next day rolls around, and what do? You do the same thing again, right? And you get to this point, and you're like, oh man, what did I do? And so you come back to God, and you're like, God, I am so sorry. God, I promise you, this is the last time. I will never, ever, ever do this again. Please forgive me. If you just forgive me, I promise I'll never do it again. And what is God's response? It's the same thing, right? He says, I forgive you right then and right there. You are totally and completely forgiven. And then what happens? The next day rolls around, or the next week, or the next month, or the next year, and we do what we're so good at doing. And we do it again. And this time we think, for sure, God can't forgive me. For sure, the grace has run out. The mercies have run out. But we still say, but I'm feeling so bad. God, please forgive me. And what does he do? He doesn't do what we would do, right? Our philosophy would be 3 strikes and you're out, right? But God's response is, I forgive you again, over and over and over and over and over again. God's response to us is forgiveness. God's response to us is love. See, you can't love and not give. God forgives because he loves us, right? But here's the thing that causes me to think. If we have received forgiveness like that, isn't it only right that we give forgiveness? Doesn't it seem sort of hypocritical to say, God, please forgive me. God, I desperately want your forgiveness. Please forgive me, but I'm not going to forgive them. You know what? You know who I'm talking about, God. They went too far this time. You know, there's no way I can forgive them, but we want forgiveness. See, here's the thing. If we're going to receive the forgiveness of God, we need to give it as well.